Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, what a joy it is to be here to record my special in my favourite city. We're in Edinburgh. I love it here. Moved here originally for work. I don't want to show off, but I used to have a job. And my job was I used to teach underprivileged children in Glasgow, or as they call them in Glasgow, children. I used to teach the little kids that instead of taking up a life of crime and drugs and violence, they should take up the world of the performing arts. It did not work. We did a production once of Grease. These little Scottish kids came up to me. They said, "Hey, Liam, we're doing Grease. Do you want us to do American accents?" The kids are only small. I didn't want to put pressure on them. I said, "Guys, you feel comfortable doing an American accent? That's great. If not, use your own natural, beautiful Glaswegian voice." Now, Edinburgh, I'm here to tell you that led to the weirdest production of Grease that has ever taken place. Because it was just, "Hey, Sandy, you want to go down to the mall?" Fucking aye. I'll get you doing there, big man. Do you know how hard it is to remain professional and not laugh when you see an 11-year-old girl in a fake leather jacket go, "Tell me about it." You prick. Got sober here in Scotland, that was hard. Giving up drinking in Scotland is like giving up heroin in Scotland. People are very judgmental. I always start my set with that joke because different audiences react differently to hearing that news. I did some gigs in America last year, and if you stand on stage in an American comedy club and tell them that you've given up drinking, an American audience will clap. You get an instantaneous round of applause. People come up to you after the show and they say stuff like, "Oh my God, can I just say, thank you for sharing your story. I feel so inspired by your journey. I myself gave up gluten last fall, so I feel like we're connected." I'm yet to have that response in Scotland. You heard it. I said I'd given up drinking and a deathly silence fell over the room. An air of mistrust entered the venue. I won't have any inspirational chats with people after the show. Just some old bald guy from Dundee like, "What the fuck is your problem?" My problem was I used to get blackout drunk. Anyone here get blackout drunk? Oh, big cheer. Big cheer on Saturday. Sure, why not? Normally people are a little bit embarrassed about admitting that. You guys are like, "I'm blackout drunk right now, actually." If you've never been blackout drunk, I'll explain. It's where you drink so much booze that your brain goes to sleep. But your body says, "I reckon I've got a few more hours in me." Actually, brain, you clock off for the night. You've been working hard. I'll get us home. Don't worry. I won't do anything stupid. And you wake up in the morning, shat the bed. So, did some gigs in America, did some gigs in Canada as well. That was very exciting. Love Canada, love Canadian people. My favourite thing to do with Canadian people is to talk to them about ice hockey, right? What's your favourite ice hockey team? Have you been to see ice hockey recently? I like to do this because someone told me once that Canadians find it annoying when you call it ice hockey. They're always like, "It's not ice hockey, it's just hockey." I was saying, I don't know about that. I don't know if you should ever assume ice, right? I was thinking about this today whilst I was water swimming. And I did some land walking. Now we're doing some stage comedy. It's a bit of fun. Why not? My dad is Irish. If we have any Irish people in now, I'm going to do an impression of my dad, and you're going to be offended by the noise that comes out of my face. But I need you to understand this is what he sounds like, right? I used to live with a guy from Dublin, and I'd do impressions of my dad all the time, and he'd be like, "Liam, come on now, nobody sounds like that. That's offensive." And then he met my dad and was like, "Your dad is a leprechaun. That's mad." Because he's like, "Hello, how are you, lads? What's happening, boys? We're having the crack." That's what he sounds like. He's like a cartoon Irishman. It's absolutely ridiculous. He's got this crazy voice, right? He drinks Guinness. He loves drinking Guinness. And I don't know how to tell you this. He loves potatoes. I know it sounds like something a racist Englishman would say about Irish people, but he does. He loves potatoes. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's potatoes there somewhere. One day I got in the car, opened the glove box, and a potato rolled out. I said, "What's this for?" He went, "Emergencies." One time, right, for his birthday, as a funny joke, I decided to wrap up a potato and I gave it to him as like a funny birthday present. He opened it. I thought he was going to burst into tears of joy. He looked so happy. You got your old fella a potato. You didn't need to do that. You're a good boy. You are. He put it on the mantelpiece. I swear to God. He put it on the mantelpiece right next to the picture of my mum and dad getting married 40 years ago, cutting into their wedding potato. Love living in Scotland, lived here a long time. There's a few cultural differences which can be jarring sometimes. There's a few little words that are different. For example, here in Scotland, you call fizzy drinks juice. Very confusing to an English person who's never learnt this. I discovered this when I was in university. I had a Glaswegian girlfriend, not to brag. One day we woke up together. She was hungover, obviously, and I said to her, "Hey, honey, you got a hangover. Is there anything I can do to make you feel better?" And she said, "I want juice." Now, me being a good boyfriend, I thought, right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy some fresh fruit, and I'm gonna make. You hear the Scottish people laughing already. Ha ha ha, you fucking idiot. She didn't mean juice, she meant fucking juice. I didn't know. I went out to buy some fresh oranges. I had to go to Newcastle for those. I came back, right? I squeezed it into the glass. You got to understand. I was so sure I had done the right thing. I came into the bedroom. I was like, honey, wake up. I've made you some juice. She looked at it and went, fuck's that? I was like, it's juice. She went, that's no fucking juice. I said, it is. I've literally juiced it myself. It's juice. And then she said, scariest phrase I've ever heard in a Scottish accent, here, don't you ever fuck with my juice. Terrifying. The juice she meant, of course, was Iron Brew, right? We love Iron Brew. You just say Iron Brew in Scotland and people, woo! I was so excited by it, Iron Brew. Again, I hadn't really had it. Moved here, had it. Changed my life. Wonderful, wonderful drink. I feel it would be remiss to mention Iron Brew without talking slightly about some of the controversies over the last few years. I'm talking, of course, about the recipe change a few years ago. And you hear already the discontent in the room. There was a trigger warning on the ticket that this might come up. I hope everyone's okay. Take a step outside if you need a minute. If you're confused, I'll explain. Basically, they changed the recipe for Iron Brew and everybody was very unhappy. Because the recipe for Iron Brew has remained the same for many thousands of years. It's very simple. You get 300 teaspoons of sugar. You boil that over a big spoon. You put it in a can, you fucking shake the can up. You take the can to Loch Lomond, right? And there's a cabin on the bank, and in the cabin lives an old woman. You knock 3 times on the door, she comes outside, you hold the can gently under her chin, and she whispers very gently, "Mon nan, you wee cunt." And the spell is cast, okay? A couple of years ago, the Scottish government got involved and said, no, there's too much sugar in that drink. From now on, you can only have 150 teaspoons of sugar per can, and the people of Scotland went, that's fucking outrageous! Don't you ever fuck with my juice! People were furious. But it led to my favourite moment, Scottish history, living here. There was a brief period where some shops were selling new recipe Iron Brew, and some shops were selling old recipe Iron Brew. And a whisper network was formed. People were telling each other, that off-licence has the old brew. Go get it, go get it. Go, son, go to Lidl. There are basements in Glasgow with 400 cans of Iron Brew in, just accruing value. Retirement funds built on it, right? I remember I was in a cafe on Byres Road in Glasgow, right? I sat down, ordered my food. Right next to me, there's a little old lady, and she's having a sausage sandwich and an Iron Brew. A healthy breakfast. And she looks at this can of Iron Brew to investigate. Is it old brew or is it new brew? She looks at the ingredients and she goes, oh, no. And then she opens the can, and I swear to God this is true. She gets a sachet of sugar for tea and she tops that shit up. I swear that is true. It's a true story. I made it up, but it is true. The most shocking revelation as an Englishman, though, came... I'll talk about it in form of a question. Scottish people, why have you kept square sausage a secret? I I've never seen it before in my life. And it's incredible. I remember my first day in Edinburgh, I went into a cafe, I said, I would like a sausage sandwich. And the woman said, would you like link or lawn? And I said, sausage. This little meaty pancake came out. I was like, why have you sat on my sausage? It's squished. If you've never had it, just imagine it's like a sausage, but it's fucking square. For some reason, that makes it taste better. I had a bite, I could see new colours, it changed me as a person. I love square sausage, I have it every day. I tell you what I like to do with my square sausage, don't worry, it's not going up my arse, okay? What I do is I wait for summer, and in summer, inevitably at some point, I'll go down to London to visit all my old friends. And inevitably, one of those friends one day will suggest, hey, it's summer, let's go for a barbecue. And I've got some square sausage in my back pocket. So we're all in the park, it's a little bit hipsterous, a little bit bougie, and when they put down their little 2-pound disposable barbecue, I'll make sure they put it on a bit of an uneven surface. So when they try and cook their shitty English sausages, it just rolls in the ground. And they're like, oh my God, no, there's like grass on my sausage, I know. Does that make it more or less vegan? I don't know. That's when I'm like, BAM! They're like, oh my God, what's that? I'm like, the future. Love that shit, man. Lived here a long time. Live here with my flatmate, wife. She's Australian, which means she's annoying. She needed a visa, that's why we got married. There's some cultural differences there as well between Australia and the UK. It's almost seen as like exotic to have an Australian partner in Scotland. I meet people, I say, I have a wife. And they're like, where's she from? And I'm like, Australia. And they're like, oh, wow. I bet she's tanned. I bet she's athletic. I bet she surfs to work on an avocado shell. Yeah. Then I went to Australia. Meet people there. I'm like, I have a wife. They're like, oh, yeah? Where's she from? I'm like, it's a town just outside Melbourne, and it's called Moe. And they go, ooh. And it turns out I've married someone from the Australian equivalent of fucking Dundee. It's absolute bullshit. I thought she was exotic. Turns out she's a scumbag. I've been swindled. She likes the AFL. She likes the Aussie rules football. Her team is called the Geelong Cats, right? That's who she goes for. That's actually Australian little parlance there, who she goes for. That's what they say. They don't say, who do you support? They say, who do you go for? Oh, I'll go for the Cats. Who do you go for? I'll go for the Penguins. I don't know the names, right? But this was confusing once, because I was gigging with an Australian comic. I said, oh, my wife's Australian. He went, oh, yeah? Who does she go for? And I was like, she goes for me. I don't... No, who does she support? I was like, she supports me, yeah. I'm a stand-up comedian. She supports me financially and emotionally. I'm who she goes for. There's a few language differences there, which I find interesting, you know. I'll say to her, hey, honey, I'm going to buy some red peppers. And she'll be like, ha, red peppers? In Australia, we call those capsicums. And I'm like, oh, you idiots. Or I'm like, hey, honey, can you pass my flip-flops? And she's like, flip-flops. In Australia, we call those thongs. And I'm like, not real people. Or I'll be like, hey, honey, have you read this article about the rights of Australia's indigenous population? And she'll be like, in Australia, we don't have a word for that. There's some stuff about British culture she doesn't fully understand, naturally. I remember she came home recently and she called me through to the hallway. Said, Liam, come through. I've bought a new jacket. And to my horror, the jacket she had purchased was a gilet. Yeah, okay. If you don't understand, a gilet is sort of a sleeveless body warmer, and it's exclusively worn by posh twats. Now, we're obsessed with class in this country. I can't be married to someone wearing a gilet. That wouldn't work. She couldn't understand this. She's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, no, it's for posh people. She's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, there's no arms. That's so they have more maneuverability to throw stones at poor people. That's part of the design. You can't wear that. People will think we're posh. She said, surely that's a good thing. I said, oh, my sweet summer child, you know. No. Part of British culture is not being posh. Even if you are posh, you have to pretend you're not. That's how it all works. She doesn't understand the class system. Because in Australia, she explained to me, they don't have the class system. So working class, middle class, upper class, you don't have that. But how do you know who you are better than? Turns out in Australia, they do it the old-fashioned way. Race. They learned it from us, but they ran with it, believe me. Try to be a modern man. I do. Try to be a good modern man. Try to care for the environment. Some people are vegan for the environment. I'm not vegan, but I don't have kids, and I think that's the same. See, when I see vegans with children, I'm like, you've undone all your good work there. All the resources your child takes up, that's why I can have a bacon roll. That's how that works. That's actually why wearing a condom is one of the few examples of a single-use plastic being good for the planet, you know? People hate environmental stuff being forced into their lives. Do you remember the fuss with the paper straws? People went crazy. They introduced paper straws because plastic straws were going into the oceans and getting jammed into turtles' eyes. And people moaned about it. I just think it's an easy switch. I was with my friend in McDonald's once because it was his birthday. We got a milkshake. He started moaning, I don't like the paper straw. I can't use it properly. I said, well, just take the lid off and drink it like you do every other drink in your fucking life. What are you talking about? No, I don't like the paper straw. I don't like the texture. The texture? We're in McDonald's. You don't get to complain about the texture of anything. I'm sorry, did the papery texture ruin the texture of your mashed up chicken brain burger? What the fuck are you talking about? When you're in McDonald's, the last thing you should be worrying about is the method of transportation between the box of food and your mouth. Complaining about a paper straw in McDonald's is like a junkie complaining there's a coffee stain on his spoon. Who's been using my spoon? This is my heroin spoon and now it's got coffee on it. I've told you before, heroin spoon's in the bathroom, coffee spoon's in the kitchen. Now there's coffee in my heroin, I'm never going to get to sleep. You know? Try to be a modern man. Try to be a good feminist, I do, as a man. Try to be an ally. There was a women's march a little while ago in Edinburgh. Men were actually encouraged to participate. I thought that'd be a good thing to do. So I went along and didn't feel good. Very much a cat amongst the pigeons kind of vibe, you know? Trying to join in, but it was difficult. They were chanting. They kept going, men are trash. I wanted to join in. I didn't know what to say. So I was like, we are shit. They were like, men are trash. I was like, I am sorry. They were like, men are trash. I was like, except for me. Are men trash? I don't know. I think, obviously, many of them are. I don't think of my friends. Are they trash? I think they're good guys, mostly. And then I think, well... I probably heard all of them individually at some point say something a little bit toxic, a little bit sexist, you know? And that's easy to happen amongst the boys, you know? When it's just the boys. Doesn't take long for it to get a little bit toxic, a little, oh, she's hot, oh, I check her, that sort of thing. Very easy to happen amongst the boys. I think that's true of all men, by the way. I think even the men that you think are really good, that you put on a pedestal as being good examples of good men, I think that's possible with them as well. Swear to God, if you got Barack Obama and David Attenborough and put them in a bar with a bottle of whiskey, after 45 minutes, Obama would be like, check out the titties on that waitress, David. Did an impression of Obama, not sure if that's okay, so we're going to do an alternative punchline now. After 45 minutes, David Attenborough would be like, see the titties on that waitress, bro. Just for the record, I want to say I don't think Obama is a good guy. I think you drone strike enough Middle Eastern countries, you get disqualified from that. To be fair to me, do you know how difficult it is to find two famous men that have done no shit to be in that joke? It's completely impossible. Morgan Freeman used to be in that joke. Then he turned out to be being sexually inappropriate to his cast members. I used to love when he was the punchline. I remember the first time I saw the titties on that waitress. men trash. Don't know. Men are more violent than women, that's true, of course. We've got stats to back that up. This stat, 99% of mass shootings in America are perpetrated by men. What does that tell you? Tells me it's just another industry not doing enough to appeal to young women. Ladies, feel not burdened by your gender. You have just as much right as any goddamn man to pick up a gun. Don't smash the patriarchy, shoot the patriarchy. Nothing tears through a glass ceiling like an AK-47, let me tell you. Obviously, that's a joke. You can't trust women with guns, they're too emotional. You know, if a man shoots up a supermarket, he's really thought about it first. Sensitive joking about gun crime in America, of course. British people will never understand America's obsession with guns. But I think what most people don't get is that it's in the Constitution, the right to bear arms. Now, why is that there? It's actually there to protect the people in case they're overtaken by a tyrannical, corrupt government so they can pick up guns, use those guns to take back power. I feel like now might be a good time to cash that particular fucking check. What are you waiting for? This is your big moment. This is what it's all been about. What, you're going to shoot his ear? Come on, try harder. The rest of the world will never understand America's obsession with guns, but had that bullet gone through Trump's brain, every other country would have gone, okay, you can keep your guns. We see the value now. Been trying to lose weight recently. It's gone all right. I've lost a little bit. I tell you the best thing I did. I deleted all of the food apps from my phone. Just Eat, Uber Eats, Deliveroo. Got rid of them. It's been really beneficial. I think those apps should be illegal. I don't think it's fair to allow hungry people to make snap decisions. See, when I'm hungry, I'm insane. I can't be trusted with a little magic box in my pocket that can order any food on the planet. I'm not going to be responsible. You'll know what I mean. Have you ever tried to do the big shop whilst hungry? What a disaster. 10 minutes around Tesco, you're like, oh, I appear to be organising a 10-year-old's birthday party. What's for dinner, honey? Some Jaffa cakes, some Pringles, and a Peppa Pig colouring book. I've gone fucking mental, actually. Whilst I was deleting the app, Deliveroo, I had a quick look at my order history, and I realised that I had ordered Deliveroo every day for lunch for 2 months. That's bad, isn't it? Every day for 2 months, I paid a man to cycle me chips. He looked amazing. I looked like shit. I realised that was bad. What was especially bad about that is, this is my job, so I'm at home in the day on my own. My partner has a real job. She's at work. So these 2 months of Deliveroo lunches were solo endeavours, right? Yeah, and when you're in a relationship, you're not really ever supposed to order takeaway without considering your partner. I always see a few people look at each other here as if to say, I fucking told you, dickhead. I was on my own, so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have a little treat to myself. First time, my wife came home from work, she saw what happened. She found it a little bit funny. She did. She came in and she saw like some Deliveroo boxes. She's like, oh my God, did you get a Deliveroo without me? That is so cheeky. By week 7, she was no longer seeing the funny side of things. Which is understandable. She was out all day, working long hours, coming home night after night to find me in the same pyjamas that I'd been wearing when she left, but now surrounded by chicken boxes. Chicken that she got none of, but crucially, had helped pay for. So I realised this wasn't really on, right? Relationships are about teamwork. I wasn't being a team player. I decided from that point onwards, I would still get takeaway whilst my partner was at work. But from then on, I would simply hide it from her. Very cool. Now, if you've never hid a takeaway from your partner, I highly recommend it. It adds such a thrill to your lunchtime meal. I'm going to give you some tips, though, some things I learned the hard way so you don't have to. Tip number 1, if you're going to hide a takeaway from your partner, do not accidentally pay for it on your joint bank account. Especially if you have one of those banks that sends a notification to your phone whenever they see a purchase. She's halfway through an 8-hour shift and gets a little buzz on her phone that reminds her that I am a fat bastard, right? Nobody needs that feature, Monzo. Grow up. Tip number 2, you got to dispose of all the evidence. You have got to be clinical in your post-takeaway tidy-up. I can't tell you how many times I was ratted out of a cheeky mid-afternoon Domino's pizza by one of those leftover tubs of garlic and cum. free cummy garlic sauce you get with Domino's. You never eat it, it's cum. Wife comes home, there's the unused cum tub on the table, you've had a Domino's, I see. I always lose about half the audience on the old cum tub punchline. I see what happens, half of you are looking at me like, yeah, that sauce is quite cummy now you mention it. And the other half are looking at me like, hey, I like that cummy sauce. Now whenever I have it, I'm going to think of cum. You should. It's cum. Moving on. Tip number 3. You're going to hide a takeaway from your partner. You have to take it to the big outside recycling bin on the street, not the one in your house. Don't be stupid. Put in the extra effort. It's worth it, okay? The nice thing about taking it to the outside recycling bin is you will occasionally bump into another chubby married man. Doing the exact same thing as you. You have a little chat, a little moment of connection, nice way to meet people. Hey, you hiding takeaway from your wife? That's very cool. What did you get? Domino's? Did you remember the cum tub? Go get the cum tub, man. I got your back. We're cum brothers now. It's cool. The cum brothers, that's the name of our WhatsApp group. I tell you what I don't like about Deliveroo specifically. I don't like the way that the second your food arrives, you are then expected to work for Deliveroo, right? You order a meal, they cycle it to you. You sit down. The second you're about to tuck in, your phone vibrates. You are asked to rate your Deliveroo rider out of 5. I always think, why am I rating the rider here? Why am I carrying out a workplace assessment of your employees? It's nothing to do with me. I'm trying to eat my dinner. Rate your own rider. The reason they do that is to try and keep their low-paid employees under a constant state of fear. Because the employees know their assessment has been outsourced to the general public. And you might not know this, but the general public are cunts. You know what happens if you let people review other people? You get, I ordered a pizza on Deliveroo, and when the man brought it to me, he wasn't smiling. Boo. 3 stars, boo. Go and fuck yourself, right? Deliveroo riders should never be smiling. They should be furious. They've just cycled 2 miles uphill to bring me a donut at 4 a.m. They should be pissed off. Whenever you open the door to a Deliveroo guy, he should just go, fuck you. There's a Tesco over there, you lazy bastard. There's a 5-star ranking system for rating Deliveroo riders. That's completely unnecessary. What even is a 5-star Deliveroo? If not just simply, I ordered some food, I'm eating some food. What more do you want from people? I ordered some food, he sang me happy birthday and then sucked me off through the letterbox. 5 stars. Similarly, what is a 1-star Deliveroo if not just simply, I ordered some food, where is my food? I ordered some food, he said something racist and then handed me a dead dog. I don't think that's happening enough. We need a system in place, right? The argument is there's a way of keeping tabs on any illegal behaviour. But if you open your door to a Deliveroo guy and he headbutted you and then stole your PlayStation, in what world is an appropriate response to that to go, you know what, I'm going to give him 1 star. That'll show him. Actually, he was smiling when he was robbing us. Give him 2 stars. That looked good. 35 years old, so not old, but I'm aging. That's the way I think of it now. When you talk about aging in your 30s, everyone in their 40s and 50s looks at you as if to say, shut the fuck up, okay? Age is coming, you have no idea. But everyone under 30 looks at me as if to say, what is the future like, old man? I'm aging. There's new things happening. I've started making new noises, right? I don't mean getting up out of a chair noise. We all know about those. I more mean just like random screams of existential dread for no reason. You ever do that? Just caught myself in the kitchen the other day going, my wife ran in, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. Life is just still happening, isn't it? It's relentless. With age as well, my farts have become too powerful. The other day, I was in my living room, I did a fart, and in the kitchen, a fork fell off the drying rack. That's 2 rooms away. I caught myself doing something the other day, and I felt like the oldest bastard on planet Earth, right? I had an out-of-body experience, I saw what I was doing, I thought, Jesus, it's coming now, age has hit us, okay? I caught myself Googling the phrase, best breathable ankle socks. I used to do ketamine at warehouse raves. Now I'm Googling best breathable ankle socks. I think best is the funniest word there. Who do I think I am? Nothing but the best for this guy. What, you think I'm getting the second or third best ankle sock like some kind of chump? No way, Jose. Only the best, okay? Before I buy anything, I do an insane amount of research. It's like I'm trying to solve a murder. My wife just buys stuff. It's crazy. She'll come home from the supermarket like, I've got a new spatula. I'm like, but you haven't put the work in. Good thing about Google, you put in best ankle socks, you get results. The number one listing was an article called Best Breathable Ankle Socks 2024. I thought, thank fuck for that. Wouldn't want to be caught dead in last year's Best Breathable Ankle Sock. Who knows what important technological advancements they've made in the last 12 months? I clicked on it. It told me the number one ankle sock was the Adidas Breathable Ankle Sock with improved moisture wicking technology. Yeah. Have I ever heard of moisture wicking technology? Have I fuck? But upon reading this, have I decided it is now the most important aspect of my sock buying journey? 100%. I don't know what the hell my wick is, but apparently it's very dry. I'm looking at my old socks in disgust, like, you've never moistened a wick in your fucking life. Click on the socks. Takes me through to Amazon, where I'm delighted to see they have 5,000 five-star reviews. Here's a question. Who's buying socks online, having their expectations exceeded, heading back to Amazon, and upon seeing that there is already 4,999 five-star reviews going, no, the final word on these socks have not been said, actually. People need to hear from me. Have you read Amazon reviews? People are unhinged. There's a lot of very lonely people out there just blogging in the comments of Amazon products. The first review for these socks went like this, verbatim. Me and my husband go camping once a year. It's a tradition we've had for 12, maybe 13 years now. We pack a bag, we go for a long hike through the local Rockies. He always brings his guitar, because that's what he's like. I make my famous peanut butter jello sandwiches. What the fuck are you talking about? This is a sock review, may I remind you? When they actually start to talk about the socks, the level of detail is insane. The socks arrived in this beautiful blue box. I thought the box was very professional looking, like something a businessman might carry. It had a matte finish. I posted the dimensions of the box, but what is going on? Finally, 8 paragraphs later, some of the most comfortable socks I've ever worn in my life. Thank you, crazy lady. That is all I wanted to know. I'm about to buy the socks, but then I see they also carry one-star review. And suddenly, everything I thought I knew has turned to dust. I'm scared to read the one-star review. It's been 8 hours at this point. I click on it and it says, I bought these socks for my brother. He put them on, and 2 days later, he was hit by a truck. I'm willing to take that risk, man. That sounds okay to me. So I bought the socks. I bought them on Amazon Prime, obviously. What, you think I'm waiting 2 to 3 working days for my socks to arrive? What is this, the 1600s? No, fuck that. I want the best socks available, and I want them today. Bring them to me. Place them in my hand. Quite frankly, I'm annoyed I have to get up off the couch to open the door to you. In an ideal world, I'd just leave my window open overnight and you'd just fuck them through. Would have no communication whatsoever. Same day delivery. The socks are brought to me later that night. They're handed to me by an Amazon delivery driver. I gave him 5 stars. Of course I did. He was smiling like a motherfucker. I know why he's smiling too. Because he knows what he's delivering. Best fucking socks you've ever seen. I tore off the Amazon packaging. When I saw how beautiful that blue box was inside, I nearly cried. It's so professional looking. It's like something a businessman might carry. I always wanted to be a businessman. Put on the socks, holy shit, they're so breathable. It's like having an extra pair of lungs on my feet. My wick has never been so moist. 2 days later, my brother was hit by a truck. be a political guy. I'm pretty left-wing. It can be difficult sometimes. Everything becomes hard when you're left-wing. See injustice everywhere. It's actually ruined something quite big for me recently. It's ruined pornography for me, right? I know it's a left turn, but we're going to navigate it together. And we're going to do it with the help of this young man. Hello, sir, what's your name?
Finley.
Finley. How you doing, Finley? I'm now going to ask you some quite invasive questions. Finley, do you watch pornography, sir? Yes, you do. Fantastic, okay. Little chuckle, but that's fine. Look, it's 2024. We're all adults. Finley watches porn, and that's fine. What kind of stuff? No, that's not. It's a joke, Finley. Please, don't tell me. Follow-up question, Finley. Do you ever pay for porn? No, ridiculous notion. It's all free online. Who would pay for porn? I pay for porn. And I will tell you for why. Recently struck me as very unusual that pornography is free, right? I was starting to think, well, hang on, there are people performing in this. They're being filmed. It means there's a camera crew, there's lighting, there's makeup. It's been edited, uploaded, hosted. So if I'm not paying, there must mean someone along that line is being exploited. I don't know if you've ever tried to jack off whilst thinking about the exploitation of the working classes. It's very difficult. You ever been cock-blocked by Karl Marx? It was fucking me up. I started to pay for pornography. It was the only way I could enjoy it again. Now, there's a few benefits when you pay to porn. I'm going to sell them to you now. I don't make a commission. This is a moral crusade. Benefit number one, Finley. He's not the benefit. He doesn't come over to your house and help you out, no. Finley, see when you do watch pornography, when you have, let's say, achieved your goal, how do you feel with yourself after? Do you ever feel like ashamed or grossed out? Are you aware, Finley, of the phenomenon known as post-nut clarity? Of course, okay? Some of the women might be confused by this notion. Basically, as men, when we achieve orgasm, sometimes we're hit with a sort of wave of sadness immediately after. Especially if you catch a reflection of yourself in your phone, you go, oh, for fuck's sake. Not when you've paid for the porn. When you've paid for the porn, instead of being like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? You're just like, wow. I am an ally. I'm helping. That helped, actually, what I just did. That was good. That's benefit number one. Benefit number two, no more adverts. Porn has adverts now, which I think is weird. Before you watch any porn clip, there's like a little 30-second ad. I think that's unethical. I level with you. When I'm just about to watch porn, I'm quite vulnerable. I don't think you should be allowed in my brain at that point to try and sell me shit. I'm in a weakened state, you know? There's adverts before porn. There might be adverts after porn. Couldn't tell you. Never seem to make the end credits. There's not adverts during porn, but I can imagine that happening during our lifetime. I can imagine watching porn one day and seeing someone like, what are you going to do to me, big boy? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right after these messages, auto glass repair, auto glass replace. To be fair to the porn ads, it's not auto glass. It's like other porny stuff. And I saw this advert that I'm going to tell you about. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I'm on this porn site. There's an ad. And the ad goes, play this game. Try not to come. You won't last 30 seconds. Is that not the craziest advert you've heard in your life? Let's break it down. Just to be clear, I'm on a pornographic website. And it says, play this game. I'm busy. What, pause this wank to play Minesweeper? What are you talking about? Play this game. Try not to come. What? Try not to come? I think you're very confused about what I'm doing in this website in the first place. I cannot emphasize to you how high coming is on my agenda right now. You want me to not? You want me to not do it? Why? You won't last 30 seconds? How dare you? I've never even played the game. Why just introduce the game and tell me I'll be shit? I could be like the Michael Jordan of the weird cum game. I played the game. I played it. I played it for you. I played it. Turns out the game was Wordle. Who'd have thought? Yeah. Got the answer in two, and fuck, I came, let me tell you. Saw another ad. And it was for a sex toy. I think aimed primarily at straight men. Finley. Have you ever heard of a sex toy called the Fleshlight? Yes, you've heard of it. Fantastic, okay. Do you own one? No. That's a shame. That would have been very funny if he did. Well, they've all had a big old laugh at Finley and his Fleshlight, but alas, he does not. But I do think it's interesting. It's interesting that it's funny if a man has a sex toy. Because it's not funny if a woman has a sex toy. It's like accepted. There's been a sexual revolution over the last 30 years. Most women in this room probably comfortably admit that they own or use sex toys. I see female comedians talk about it on stage. I saw a female comedian recently. She came out and she just went, I never leave the house without my bullet in my handbag. All the girls in the crowd were like, yeah! But if I came out here... and I said, I never leave the house without a rubber vagina in my backpack, you would phone the police. They see it as embarrassing or shameful that a man would have a sex toy. Now, the Fleshlight company, they understand that shame. They use it to their advantage. So, yes, the Fleshlight is a rubber vagina, sure. However, it is disguised as a torch. Very clever. Fleshlight, you understand the name now. So the idea is, say me and Finley are hanging out one day, okay? And it's all about board, nothing weird. We're just having a bro day. We're just eating some chicken, playing some FIFA, watching Russell Crowe's Master and Commander. It's a great movie. And Finley's like, hey, Liam, I'm quite cold. Can I borrow a jumper? I'm like, of course, Finley. Just go through to my bedroom. But, oh, what do you know? I've only gone and left my rubber vagina on my bed. How embarrassing, right? What a faux pas. You understand if Finley sees that? He's straight in the group chat. He's like, Liam's got a rubber vagina. Liam's got a rubber vagina. But if Finley goes through to my bedroom and he just sees what he thinks is a torch on my bed, he's just like, Liam's scared of the dark. It's not as embarrassing. I'll say this for the Fleshlight, from what I've seen. Doesn't look that much like a torch. Torches generally don't have rubber vaginas on the end of them. It's not getting confused for a torch anytime soon. You're not having like a young couple wake up in a cabin in the woods because they've heard a scary noise like, what's that noise? Oh my God, honey, what's that? Did you hear that? I think there's someone in the cabin. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Do you think they're going to hurt us? Do you think they're going to kill us? Turn on the light. The power's gone. Oh no, I'm so scared. Honey, pass me your torch. No, I think just let them murder us, actually. Final thing I'll say about the Fleshlight is I was curious as to how a male sex toy dealt with a specific part of the male orgasm. Because the male orgasm and the female orgasm are different, aren't they? In that the male orgasm has a result. You understand what I'm saying? It's like a physical manifestation of the orgasm. Apparently, that can sometimes happen with women. I don't fucking know about that. But, seems made up to me, bro. But how would a male sex toy deal with a post-male orgasm cleanup? And I learned this Fleshlight does it like this. Basically, here's your Fleshlight, right? You have your shaft there, right? Not to scale. And here's your rubber vagina. You pop penis into that. And on this side, the end, you have a handy little screw cap. Yeah, that you can take off when you're finished, and that is where Domino's get their garlic and herb sauce. I know, don't clap. Horrible. Disgusting. I'll tell you one more story, then we'll get out of here. I did something very drastic to try and lose weight. A couple of years ago, I ran the London Marathon. I raised £5,000 for Amnesty International. Thank you very much. Thank you. I ran the London Marathon and I shat myself. So, let's talk about that, shall we? You've probably heard of marathoners shitting themselves before. It's quite common. It's weird, isn't it? It's like seen as this elite, healthy activity. When you shit yourself in public, it doesn't feel healthy. I'll tell you what happened. I didn't shit myself during the marathon. It was after the marathon. 6 months after. Just a joke, it was the same day. I ran the marathon, right? It kind of went badly. I hadn't trained properly and it took me a long time. I got to the end, I just didn't enjoy the day. Met my wife at the finish line. She said, I know you found that tough, but I'm really proud of you. You finished it. I want to take you out for dinner. So I went to this posh pizza restaurant in West London. Sat down, ordered a pizza, ate that very quickly. Been training for that my whole life. New PB on the pepperoni, okay? Popped that in. Suddenly, started to feel very sick. Felt a little bit woozy. Just started to feel my sort of head wobble a bit. And out of nowhere, I fainted. I went unconscious. I've never fainted before, but that's what happens. I was out for about 20 seconds. From my wife's perspective, what she saw was the colour drain from my face, a bead of sweat fall down from my forehead. My eyes rolled into the back of my head, and I went unconscious. She caught me. She jumped round to the other side of the table, spun me round, held my head in her hands. With her other hand, she got a napkin, dipped it into some ice-cold water, and began to pat it gently on my forehead to bring me back round. Incredible reflexes. I came to, 20 seconds later, terrified, didn't know what had happened, looked up, my wife's terrified face looking down on me, holding me in her hands, and she's going, Liam, you fainted. And I said, I've shat myself. She said, I know. I was unconscious for 20 seconds. I was pretty annoyed at my own body that day. 20 seconds and my body was like, well, guess we're dead. Time to flush everything out. I don't know if you've ever shat yourself in a West London pizza restaurant, but let me tell you, it's a logistical nightmare. Bear in mind, I had already ran a marathon. I thought the hardest part of my day was over. My day had only just begun. An immediate task to deal with. We were yet to pay for our meal. Yeah, hard enough to get a waiter's attention in a busy restaurant at the best of times. Try doing it when you've got shit in your pants. You don't want him to come anywhere near you. He eventually comes over, he's got a card reader, he's doing that thing where it's like, would you like to leave a tip? I'm like, well, the service has been atrocious, but I have shat in their restaurant, so fuck it, give him the $5,000 I raised down to Sea International, because what's happened here has been a human rights violation. We pay, we then need to get out of the restaurant. It's busy, it's cramped, I feel very embarrassed, I don't want to be too near people, so I sort of went through the back wall and decided to leave via the perimeter, sort of sidestepping my way out of the restaurant like a spy in a PlayStation 1 game, right? And not a very good spy. You could tell where I'd been, I'd left a smear behind me. I got outside, right? Next task, we had to get back to the hotel. Two options. Option number one, we could get an Uber. I immediately vetoed the Uber. I've got my own star rating to worry about. What is a one-star Uber customer review if not, he got in my cab, he'd shat himself. Never get a taxi again. So instead we opted for option number two, the London Underground. Yeah, I know. I thought it would be okay, because the London Underground, famously the most unfriendly place on planet Earth. I thought at least no one's going to chat to me or come near to me. What I didn't understand was that the London Underground on London Marathon Day is the London Underground from Mary fucking Poppins. Everyone's like, hello there, mate, you've got a medal, you've run a marathon, congratulations. How do you feel? How long did it take you? What the fuck is that smell? I got off the Underground, went to my hotel, we're on the 4th floor, there's no lift. Yeah. Bear in mind, I have run a marathon. I'm in extreme physical pain. And someone had told me beforehand, after the marathon, one of the most painful things will actually be going up and down stairs and using your legs all day. It really hurts. Here's a fun tip. If you go up the stairs backwards, uses slightly different muscles, doesn't hurt so much. And that's what we did, and it works. That is, going upstairs backwards, the best way to go upstairs after you run a marathon. It is, however, the worst way to go upstairs if you have shat yourself. You are now stepping up and into the shit and forming a kind of back knee shit paste. Got into my hotel room, straight into the shower, obviously, peeled off my shitty running shorts, poked them into a plastic bag. I then had the longest and saddest shower of my life. I came out, got into my bed, lying there, really depressed about the day. I said to my wife, we're so close to this day being over, but there is just one more thing we need to do. And by we, I do mean you. I can't move, but I need you to take that plastic bag with my shitty running shorts in them and go put them in a bin far, far away from here. In a different postcode, if possible. And without blinking, she said, okay. She picked them up and she took them away, because that is what love is. And it is what marriage is all about. And the good thing about taking your husband's shitty running shorts to the outside bin is you will occasionally bump into another embarrassed-looking wife doing the exact same thing. You got a shitty husband up there? I do. We're getting on WhatsApp. Thank you. You guys have been a wonderful crowd. I'm going to tell you one more thing and then we'll go. Not all crowds are wonderful. When I was working up some of the material to this show, I did a Fringe preview in Dundee. That was mistake number 1. I got to about this point of the show, I was wrapping up, and then a woman in the front row stood up, very obviously, and walked out, like she wanted people to see she was walking out. I said, are you okay? She turned around and she went, fuck you. Yeah. I said, I'm sorry, what's wrong? She said, what's wrong? You're a misogynistic piece of shit. That's what's wrong. I've never been accused of that. So I said, I'm so sorry. I'd love to know what I've said that made you think that. She said, you're up there saying women can't use guns? No. I said, no, I'm trying to use satire. I'm trying to say something I don't really believe to make fun of people who do think stuff like shit. Whatever, prick. And then she walked out. Now that is a tricky heckle. I was trying to think what to say to bring the room back round. Before I could say anything, the door opened again. She started walking back in, walking towards the stage. I thought, is she going to hit me? She got back to her seat, and then I realised she'd forgotten her jacket. Very funny. She was so confident on her way out, and she got outside and went, oh, shit. She can't go home without her jacket. It's Dundee. She would die. Came back in. She tried to keep the swagger. She walked back over and she picked up her jacket and she looked at me, put on her jacket, and then I realised it was a fucking gilet. I see what this is. You weren't worried about what I'd said about women or guns. You were offended I made fun of your shitty Tory coat. Well, off you fuck. It wasn't about misogyny. It wasn't about gun crime. Well, no, weirdly, it was about the right to bear arms. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been wonderful. My name's Withnail. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Good night. Bye.